Now we're going to have a little video from the CEO and co-founder of Bioneers, Kenny Osterveld. He did an introduction for Gar Alperovitz, replacing corporate capitalism. But we're only going to take a brief part of his introduction at this time. Do you want to go ahead and run that, Nathan?
If billionaires were a country, they'd be the third richest nation after the US and China. Yeah, wow, billionaire nation. A handful of multinational monopolies dominate virtually every single sector. What could possibly go wrong? It's well documented that excessive inequality and corporate concentration fuel volatility and crises. They undermine productivity and lower wages. They retard small business startups and growth, and they freeze social mobility. All this results in underinvestment in infrastructure, education, technology, and environmental protection. This preposterous hyper-inequality is inherently anti-democratic. It's make feudalism great again, and it's pushing us off the planetary cliff. How do we break this vicious cycle? What kind of system would work better? And just what is the economy for?
Okay. Plutocracy is a form of government where ruling is done by and for the rich. We have been told that the United States is a country founded on the principle of government by, for, and of the people, who presumably are being governed. Well, let me tell you, when a person has $1 billion of wealth at their command, that can affect their thinking. If someone paid you enough, would you not want to do what they wanted you to do, even if it meant saying that the color blue is now to be called green? Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't, but a whole lot of people would, especially if they thought their job depended on it. Such economic wealth carries potentially vast influence. Such a person would be able to start to believe that what they want to be truth would become truth. Also, they can and do influence people in political positions to work to make what they want to be law There's a real danger here. Doesn't this describe criminal behavior? But when you write the law that regulates your activity, well, then you can call what was once illegal legal, and vice versa. What was once legal illegal. Kind of a play on words, but it works. Does this ring a bell? Aren't some guys who were convicted of crimes just given a bunch of pardons? For the sake of justice, I want to work on doing something about this. I may not be the smartest or brightest person around. I'm kind of a simple-minded guy. And so I'm coming up with a kind of simple solution that I hope most people, including children, can and will be able to understand. Whether we can agree upon it and get something done remains to be seen. I propose, and if elected, and I am running for state legislature in the state of Missouri, to submit an idea for a law that says exceedingly excessive wealth is immoral and ought to be prohibited by law for the sake of the health of society. Our country, and really the rest of the world, well, that's supposed to flow there. Anyway, such wealth creates imbalances that promote unfairness and make life a whole lot tougher on most people than it ought to be. This is an idea of a cap on income in a yearly period. The dollar amount of value can be arbitrary. I am aiming at the top and target those who have over $1 billion of wealth at their use. After a person has made $1 billion within a year, they would not be allowed to keep, use, or spend the resulting revenue. Any resulting revenue would be allocated to pay down the $22 trillion national debt. Let's get America out of debt, regardless of those who benefit from such debt and gain from the interest that is charged. This would apply to all U.S. citizens. Foreign agencies exceeding this amount within our country would be subject to the same measures or be removed from within our borders. Not easy, I am sure. Wars have been started for less. In time, I hope to see this amount come down to perhaps 100 million. And maybe, just maybe, if life is getting better for everyone, including the ultra wealthy, which I envision it can, that the amount can come down to eventually $10 million. It might be hard for a present day billionaire to live on $10 million, but with some practice, I believe it can be done and improve their lives as well. When higher truth is embraced, there can and will be a result that is more rewarding than what money can buy, namely freedom. That does not exist in such an unbalanced and unequal world. The truth will set you free. The core of the problem is an unhealthy idea of success. We as Americans have been fed and conditioned to think that the more property, wealth, power, and influence one has, the more successful they are. I am prepared to argue against this premise. We've often seen examples of workaholics who have gone to exhaustion on a regular basis to gain more and more. And what's the result? Yes, they may have achieved some great prize, but at what expense? Perhaps their health, or a neglected marriage, or a broken family. I tell you, there are things more valuable and precious than material possessions or wealth. Such things have to do with dignity, respect, honor, and love, without which living can cease to have meaning or fulfillment. Caring for one's neighbor and fellow human being can bring about results that will cause people to lay down their lives for one another. This, my friend, is something money cannot buy. Oh, I've worked hard for what I've got, and I'm not going to give it up. How many times have I heard this? This is a common anthem that has justified selfishness, turned into greed, and established bigotry. This is a principle that must be struggled against. I am talking in broad generalities and ideologies that most people do not often consider. But is it not time for such considerations? Take time to think about these things. The results may prove to be valuable. We are on the verge of major upheaval. What we agree to or disagree with now can set an important stage for what is yet to come in the way of cataclysmic catastrophes. The past decisions of those in positions of power have brought about great imbalance on this planet. Without vision or chosen solutions, these imbalances will increase, and so will the need for planetary balance that may come in unexpected ways, as this current pandemic is showing can seriously happen. This pandemic can be looked at as a wake-up call that will help people get together when natural disasters occur, that will make this pandemic look like a picnic. This talk is supposed to be about plutocracy, but what do you expect? A lot of information about how 400 people own the equivalent of wealth of half our population, or 1% own 50% of investment capital, and 5% own 70%. Community and worker-owned cooperatives and projects and plans are available and presented in ways that are better than I can do. And these subjects are well worth researching and adopting. But for me, with a poet's heart, I give what I can and look forward with hope for positive results. But I will say that the workings of capitalism, whether called plantation capitalism or corporate capitalism, are opposed to the principles of democracy, and that a dynamic struggle is presently being witnessed. The outcome of such struggles will have far-reaching consequences. I hope you will join with me in an effort to promote, uphold, and support democracy as the proponent for freedom and a truly greater country. So when the proverbial you-know-what continues to hit the fan, what do we have to look forward to? Challenges and opportunities for solutions that will actually do some good and solve blistering problems. Or on the other hand, isolation and fear that grows and paralyzes. And so I give these websites to look into. They are far-reaching and present solutions that are truly viable. thenextsystem.org. The future is public towards democratic ownership of public services, by Thomas Hanna. The movement to nationalize the fossil fuel industry, a timeline, by Juliana Broad. System changes, a basic primer to the solidarity economy, by Emily Kawanano, Julie Mathai. Not sure about the pronunciation of the names, but another website is democracycollaborative.org. And a further website is communitywealth.org. There's the world's largest worker-owned cooperative in the Basque of Spain is called the Mondragon Model, something worth looking into. I think they got, what, $1 billion of capital that they're dealing with. Another is called the Evergreen Project in Cleveland. These are interesting activities that's going on. Okay, there's about one thing to do, and that is get together and get busy. We are literally up against billionaires. Thank you.